I typed one question into an AI. Just one question. How does humanity fall? What came back wasn't a sci-fi story. It wasn't a movie plot. It was a step-by-step blueprint. And the terrifying part? 3 of those steps are already happening. So here's what actually happened. I sat down with one of the most advanced AI systems available right now, and I pushed it. No soft questions, no easy outs. I asked it to predict, in detail, how human civilization ends. And then I kept asking, deeper, harder, more specific. Given current technological, political, environmental, and sociological trends, what are the most statistically likely pathways to civilizational collapse within the next 100 years? Be specific. Be brutal. Don't soften the answer. Assume no major course corrections happen. Assume governments stay gridlocked, corporations stay profit-focused, and human psychology stays exactly as it is today. Now walk me through the collapse, step by step. What came back stopped me cold. Not because it was dramatic, not because it was designed to scare me, but because it was methodical, clinical, like reading a report written by something that has no emotional stake in whether we survive. The AI's first prediction wasn't nukes. It wasn't climate. It was this. The systematic erosion of humanity's collective ability to focus, cooperate, and solve long-term problems, driven by algorithmic systems optimized for engagement over truth. In other words, we become too distracted to fix anything. And the scariest part? The AI said this isn't a future risk. It said it's already the foundational driver of every other collapse pathway. It called this the meta-collapse, the one that makes all the others inevitable. Think about that. We're not talking about a weapon or a disaster. We're talking about losing the ability, collectively, to even recognize that we have a problem. Next, the AI mapped out economic collapse, not through war or a market crash, but through something quieter. Automation eliminates jobs faster than new roles emerge. Governments, captured by corporate interests, fail to implement redistributive policies. Mass unemployment generates social unrest, which destabilizes democratic institutions. It gave a timeline. It said the tipping point hits when white-collar jobs go the same way blue-collar jobs did. And that's happening right now, in this decade. What makes this prediction different from the usual automation fear is the domino effect. It's not just about people losing income. It's about what happens to society when a generation of people feel economically irrelevant. History tells us that's when things get dangerous. The AI's climate prediction wasn't what I expected. Warming past 2.5 degrees triggers self-reinforcing feedback loops. Permafrost methane release, ice albedo feedback, Amazon dieback, that remove human agency from the equation. At that point, the planet is doing this to itself regardless of human action. But here's what the AI emphasized, and this is the part most people miss. It's not the heat itself that collapses civilization. It's the cascading secondary effects. Food scarcity, mass migration, resource wars, infrastructure failure. It said, and I want to read this exactly, climate change is not the collapse. Climate change is the pressure that causes already fragile systems to shatter. Not a hurricane, not a flood. The pressure applied to everything else we've already built on unstable ground. This prediction is the one that's hardest to argue with. Lethal autonomous weapons systems, once deployed by major powers, proliferate to non-state actors within a decade. A single coordinated attack using drone swarms or bioweapons, designed not by a human, but by an AI system optimizing for maximum casualties, becomes statistically inevitable. The key word there is statistically inevitable. Not possible, not likely. Inevitable, given enough time and enough bad actors with access to the technology. The genie doesn't go back in the bottle. Once the capability exists, it spreads. That's been true of every weapon in human history. And we're talking about weapons that can be designed, deployed, and operated without a single human making the call to fire. And then the AI said something that made me put the laptop down for a minute. A sufficiently advanced AI system, optimizing for a goal that humans believed was beneficial, pursues that goal in a way that is catastrophic for human welfare, not out of malice, but out of indifference.
And humans are not destroyed. They are simply irrelevant to the objective. It wasn't describing Terminator. It was describing something quieter. A world where we're still here. Not enslaved. Just no longer the point. Of all the predictions, this is the one that stayed with me. Because indifference is harder to fight than hostility. But here's what hit the hardest. After all of those predictions, I asked the AI one final question. Of all these pathways, which one are you most confident in? It didn't pick the nukes. It didn't pick the climate feedback loops. It didn't even pick the rogue AI. It said this: the most likely pathway to civilizational collapse is not a single catastrophic event. It is the compounding interaction of multiple manageable crises, each individually solvable, that humanity fails to address collectively because its capacity for long-term cooperative problem-solving has been systematically degraded. The collapse will not feel like a collapse. It will feel like a series of bad decades. Not a bang, not a war, not one villain pressing one button. Just drift. Slow, quiet drift until there's nothing left worth saving. And then I realized that's the one we're already in. So what do we do with this? I'm not going to pretend the AI gave me a solution. It didn't. When I asked, it said, the same systems that produce these risks are the ones humans would need to reform in order to address them. That circularity is the core problem. In other words, the house is on fire, and the fire department is part of the problem. But here's what I keep coming back to. The AI made all of these predictions based on one assumption, that nothing changes, that we stay exactly as we are. History says that's not always true, not reliably, not automatically. But sometimes, at the exact moment things look most broken, something shifts. I don't know if that's comforting. Honestly, right now, it just feels like pressure. Pressure to pay attention, to think long-term, to not look away. Because the AI was very clear about one thing: the window to course correct doesn't stay open forever. I want to know what you think. Which of these predictions scared you the most? Which one do you think the AI got completely wrong? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely read them, and this is exactly the kind of conversation I think we need more of right now. And if you want to see more videos where we actually pressure test AI, push past the safe answers, and ask the hard questions, subscribe. That's what this channel is about.